To you, having certainty about your health and that you will live a long, happy and healthy life might be really important. And you might assume that this is important to everyone. However, for the majority of people, they're quite comfortable with the uncertainty of the future of their health and even when and how they will die. And you might say, well, good for them. I wish I could be so comfortable about uncertainty around my health. And I agree, as I certainly struggled for many years with uncertainty around my health. So if you struggle with uncertainty around your health and you'd like to learn more about managing that, keep listening. An important feature to understand of uncertainty is how it correlates with perfectionism. And as many of you will know, if you've listened to a few of my videos before, is that for people who suffer from TMS or neuroplastic pain, perfectionism is a common personality trait. If you happen to be somebody who is uncomfortable with uncertainty around their health, you may worry about the following things: that you haven't seen the right doctors, that you're not taking the right supplements, or that you haven't read the right TMS book. You may also find that decisions about what to do for your health can be long and laborious. As uncertainty and perfectionism tend to go hand in hand, you may also want to make sure you've seen the very best doctor, that you're taking the very best medication or supplements, that you're on the very best program, or if you need to go to hospital for anything, that you are going to the very best hospital. Where other people who don't have this tendency towards perfectionism and don't have this discomfort with uncertainty may go to any doctor, take their advice, go and get the tests done. Their aim is to get the job done, whereas somebody who tends toward perfectionism wants to get the job done to the very highest standard. People who worry excessively about their health are likely to have a mindset such as, I can't be uncertain and also have peace of mind. However, there are ways that you can have more peace of mind and still feel uncertain about your health. Because as we know, life is uncertain. We're not sure what's going to happen in the future. And today we'll talk about some strategies of managing life and our minds with that uncertainty. Something I tend to find with people who suffer with uncertainty is they do a lot more checking with their bodies and their health, which then in turn leads to more hypervigilance. So you feel a sensation in your body and you really notice it and you follow it and you're checking on it and you're seeing if it's getting better, you're seeing if it's getting worse, you're seeing if what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is making any changes. So it's just that constant awareness of our body and our symptoms. And I think Ted Goddard explained this really well in a presentation he did for the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, where he explained that people who suffer from anxiety also tend to have noisier bodies. And what he meant by noisier bodies was symptoms like muscle spasms, things like lingering cough, tummy issues, stiffness and cramping, and that this was caused by adrenaline. So the adrenaline goes up when we're feeling uncertain, and that the adrenaline causes these symptoms to increase. In TMS and neuroplastic circles, this is more likely to be referred to as the pain-fear cycle. So we have pain and we get fearful and we focus on the pain and then the thoughts get more fearful. When working with children, but it's also helpful for adults, some of us like a visual, is to explain this part of us as the jumpy superhero. So the jumpy superhero is the part that mistakes stress as a threat and pushes the anxiety alarm, therefore causing more issues in our mind and our body. The jumpy superhero comes from a company called Blissful Kids, which have some really good resources for children suffering from anxiety. So if you have children in your life that could benefit from some strategies and some metaphors and some activities, I really recommend Blissful Kids as something you might want to take a look at. So as I mentioned earlier, in my life, I have dealt with being uncomfortable with uncertainty around my health. And at one time, I had a lot of stomach issues and I was very fixated on those issues and I was very hyper aware of them and I was always checking them and I was always worrying about the future. Like, what if I have to go to this big event? I have to attend a wedding or I have to attend a seminar or I have to give a presentation and I have these issues. And I was always worrying into the future around what might go wrong. And I was really struggling with that uncertainty because I didn't know how my body would respond. But what I found is that if I was more able to go, well, I'm not really sure how things are going to be in the future. There's really no point in worrying about it now because I don't know. Naturally, my body became a quieter place. And even if I did have twinges or feelings, Rather than instantly thinking it was the end of the world or projecting into the future, I could be present with it and go, that's a sensation I have now. That's a feeling I have now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that is how I'll feel in 5 minutes, in an hour, tomorrow, next week. I was also lucky enough at that time to go through a course of hypnotherapy, which helped me with my stomach issues. It helped turn down that nervous system reaction, but it also helped me to become more comfortable with uncertainty. And after going through hypnotherapy myself a few years ago, I trained to be a hypnotherapist, and I now work with people who suffer from TMS and mind body syndrome and help them particularly with issues around hypervigilance, uncertainty, and the pain fear cycle. So, what do you need to know and what do you need to do if you experience discomfort with uncertainty? I think one of the first things that is really important is to stop seeking absolute 100% certainty, because I think we know in life that things will always be uncertain. So the best option we have is to actually experience what is happening for us now in the present. And that can be through anything in the moment. The most simple way I find to ground myself in mindfulness is to literally look around myself and tap into my senses, like what can I see, what can I feel, what can I taste, what can I touch? And just reminding yourself that I just have this moment, and even if I have pain or sensations, experiencing and noticing it in the moment rather than projecting it forward into the future or getting caught up in what our mind is telling us about needing to be certain about our health. It's also important to know that every time we seek that 100% assurance that we are certain that everything is okay, we're actually pressing the anxiety alarm again. Of course, it's important to see doctors and perhaps even get a second opinion and follow their advice and their recommendations. And after a second opinion, it's wise to accept the diagnosis. And if it's TMS, have that knowing that you can work through this and you can heal it. Another thing that I think is really important is to stop continually Googling symptoms, because as we all know, once you get on Google, you'll find information that gives you reassurance and tells you everything's okay and that you're going to be fine. But if you dig it a bit deeper, you'll almost always find information that makes you feel worse. And also, the more we do it, the more we tend to need to do it again and just to check that information again, because maybe there was something I missed last time. So really the best approach to this is to not Google your symptoms, and this builds your resilience and it builds your comfort with uncertainty. You'll hear me say this in almost all of the videos I do when I'm talking about strategies for calming our minds down and calming our nervous systems down, and that is to observe and notice your thoughts. And perhaps you would like to do it in your mind, or perhaps you would like to journal it with a prompt that may be something like, I'm noticing I want to feel certain about, fill in the gap, or I'm noticing I feel uncertain about, fill in the gap. And just use that as a writing prompt, just so you can notice the thoughts that you're having at that time. And then by writing them down and noticing them in that moment, if they come back again, you can again notice them. You can observe them and notice them as thoughts. And as I've said many times before, with our thoughts, we can buy in and we can take them seriously, or we can hold them lightly. And by holding them lightly, we can just let them float through a little bit more and see them as just thoughts, not something that we have to follow, not something that we necessarily have to believe, but just something that is happening in our mind. Jennifer Shannon, who wrote the book Don't Feed the Monkey Mind, has a suggestion around how to deal with uncertain thoughts, which is something similar to, thanks mind, I'm choosing to live with uncertainty. So part of that is you're thanking your mind, I'm noticing the thought, thanks, but I'm choosing to live with uncertainty, which is giving your mind the message that it's all right, thanks, you can be here. I know you're just trying to help. However, I'm going to choose to live my life in line with my values and do the things that are important to me, even if I have this uncertainty. So it doesn't mean you have to like the thoughts, doesn't mean that you agree with the thoughts. It just means you're saying, oh, thanks for trying to help mind, but I can live with uncertainty and I'm choosing to live with uncertainty. What I like to do for myself sometimes and with my clients, it might be something that you do for just an hour a day, or it might be something that you do throughout your work day, is to have a bit of a sheet, and down one, like the left-hand side, you might write the day, or if it's you just practicing for an hour, you might write the day and the time, and then you'll have a heading at the top that will say noticing thoughts or thanking my mind or something like that. And each time you say a phrase like that, thank you, I'm choosing to live with uncertainty. You give yourself a tick and you tally that up. So you might do that over a week and notice that you increase that over time. You might find that it decreases because it's naturally happening and you're not needing to keep thanking your mind because either the thoughts have slowed down or that you're just not getting caught up in them. And it's fine. Sometimes you probably will get caught up in your thoughts, and that's absolutely fine. That's what happens. That's what minds do much of the time. We get caught up and we don't even realize it's happened. And that is absolutely fine. You can thank your mind again and then get back to living in the present moment. But it's something that you practice, and you're not hard on yourself if you find that you didn't notice all the thoughts. We're not expected to. We have so many thoughts in a day. But every time that we do notice, we're rewarding ourselves and giving ourselves a little tick and a little bit of acknowledgement that we've done a really good job of noticing. So in summary, being uncomfortable with uncertainty is really normal. Many people have it in areas such as around their relationships, around their careers, or perhaps their finances. But if you suffer from TMS or pain, you're likely to have discomfort with uncertainty around your health. And that's okay. We understand that that is a feature of our brain, but we can get more comfortable and more resilient around uncertainty by doing things like not constantly seeking reassurance and not feeding the monkey mind and taking these thoughts less seriously. We can practice observing and noticing our thoughts, also noticing what's happening in our body and being more okay with that. And the more and more we practice that, the more and more we will calm the nervous system, and the more and more we will turn down that noisy mind and that noisy body. And also it's just slowly shifting our mindset away from I can't be peaceful and be uncertain to living more in the present moment and reminding ourselves that we can be present. And I think this quote sums it up perfectly. I think the first time one of my friends quoted it to me, I thought it was really naff, but I now appreciate the truth in it and how very helpful it is, which is yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today's a gift, and that's why they call it the present. And it's so very true. We just have this moment to enjoy. We're not sure what's going to happen next, but by living a better present, we are more likely to live a better future. So if you enjoy listening and you resonated with what I said today, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel, to like the video, and of course comment on what has helped you with your uncertainty. You may be interested in working with me one-on-one. I do this face-to-face here in Melbourne and also online, and the details about booking in a free consult with me to talk through with what you would like to work on are in the description. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.